everyone, I am Keshilu Tayang, Senior Volunteer Apne Library, Wakro. Hello, my name is Sakilu Chikro, and I am pursuing my second MSc in Human Development.
Hello everyone, it's me Solina Kambrai, one of the senior most volunteers of Apne Library as well as Bambusa Library.
I came to Arunachal in 1979, and immediately what it struck me was the young readers, young learners need to discover the joy of reading. Then only education in a tribal, rural, reading deprived community can progress. So my life and my effort has been, I would say, synonymous with the reading promotion.
Chippy chip chip! We don't want to sleep! Chippy chip chip! We don't want to sleep! But learn how to fly! Very, very high!
If I tell you exactly when I started being attached to the library or associated as well as with Uncle, it was during the class 5 when I was in the 5th standard. And at that moment, I was more like a cheerful kid, more like a fun, looking for the excitement part, not into the boring. I found like books are really boring for me. I felt more like I should rather be dancing, cheering up and having fun with friends usually.
Because I found that students in remote tribal areas have been living in hostels, and that was the best way the government, the then NIFA government and the Arunachal government could provide a proper learning environment. The teachers stayed with them, and they had all opportunity to interact with a grown-up audience. But what was lacking was a reading environment, because the books were very rare, and there were hardly any libraries, and only very few students who were staying in the district headquarters had opportunities to access to a public library or thing. There were namesake some school libraries, but we couldn't say anything that is worthwhile, and books were also not very freely available.
So I'll be sharing about how I got associated with this library movement. I joined when I was in class 5, maybe in the year 2009.
The first thing what I thought was, we must help the children to discover the joy of reading, and it was a discovery for myself. What appeals to a young learner? How can his day, which is full of activities, whole day they study. There was no electricity, there was no proper room heating in the hostels. Winters were very cold. So we have to do something to create the joyful environment of a home.
I used to stay in a hostel, so he used to come and tell us stories during Sundays when we have off day, and every students will be so involved in that we are very happy whenever he comes.
I hate my hat. You hate your hat? Yes, I hate my hat. You mean your hat? No, not my hat. I hate that word. Like this. So there are books. Then the doctor says foot. foot, left foot, right feet in the morning, feet at night. So like this, the play of words make the children very happy, and they will develop a interest in reading. This is very important. This stress we have found it's very important because Arunachal is a multilingual community with no script. So more than 26 major languages are there, and none of them have till recently adopted a script.
Potatoes, 6 potatoes, 10 potato more.
8 potatoes, 9 potatoes, 10 potatoes, hoy!
8 potatoes, 9 potatoes, 10 potatoes more. Now let's make some
Sweet potato.
Uncle, he used to tell in so much fun way the stories or whatever story. When he reads a book, he'll be more like, hey, he's more like involving with the audience, and I'm like, we get shocked when he points us to us, and we are more like, he is fun. I mean, look at his age, no? Look at the person he is. Literally looking at him, when in normal times, he'll be more like serious. But then when he is telling a story or doing some library activities, he'll be more like a different person and really, inspiration, an example.
At the home, back home in the tribal homes, there will be always fire burning. There will be people sitting together. But that was totally lacking in a hostel which was mostly made of cement or even partly of bamboo and wood.
याद है मुझे टीचर्स डे था वो दिन। पहले मैं लाइब्रेरी वॉलेंटियर नहीं थी, वो टीचर्स डे था एंड अंकल मूसा जो है बहुत न्यू थे हमारे वहाँ, तो ऐसे कि कुछ रीडिंग कैंपेन करना था उनको। तो पास ही वाकरो के पास ही में 2 किलोमीटर आगे एक बस्ती है कंजंग, एक प्राइमरी स्कूल है वहाँ पर। सो दे लाइक वहाँ पे उन्होंने एक वर्कशॉप करने की सोची, सो रीडिंग कैंपेन। सो दे वांटेड वॉलंटियर्स लाइक जो खुद से आए। सो दे हैड ऑलरेडी सिलेक्टेड 3, 2 बॉयज़ एंड 1 गर्ल, एंड दे वांटेड 1 मोर गर्ल। सो वो लड़की जो आई वो बोले कि कौन ज्वाइन करना चाहता है से, एंड then I automatically, how to say, my hands, it raised, no, so I joined, and I had no idea what to do.
And I found that we need to use very unconventional, innovative methods. One was the bedtime stories. So I started initially telling stories, then I found that I need also to intervene to improve their English reading skills. Then we managed to get books from sometimes from then Calcutta, then Bombay, going along the streets, Delhi, picking up the lowest price books, bargaining, and then carrying it by train, bus, boat, and reaching out to the schools. But that was a very important phase.
Uncle told कि like we can do this and that, like poem, then storytelling and all. So I was how to say, like शायद मैं पहले से interested थी storytelling में. So I chose a book, The Lion Who Didn't Brush His Teeth. That was my first book जो मैंने storytelling किया था, and अब तक भी करती हूँ इतने सालों बाद भी. बोला था कि ब्रश करने को, ब्रश करूँ क्या? इतना हैंडसम, ब्रश करने की क्या जरूरत? चलो कुछ मंगा ही लेता हूँ, भूख लग रही है. फ्रिज में देखो सब कच्चा मेरे, बोर. चलो ठीक है, मैं कहीं बाहर ही खा लेता हूँ.
I don't exactly recall like how I met Uncle, but I somehow saw him from the far away. I was like, who is this person? Like he is somewhat new because the way he dressed up and the way he looks is a bit different than rest of us, like our people. So I was a curious kid, but yet I wasn't like the kid who approaches and talks with them. Where are you from? Like, how did you reach here? I wasn't that kind of like approaching kid. More like neglecting things. So I don't know. Somehow Uncle did notice me because I usually danced a lot. More in the sense. Always involved in whatever functions and programs will be conducted on the school.
Arunachal has a very large area, 84,000 square kilometers, and the population then was hardly around 10 lakhs. And that was also highly distributed. Across small hamlets, there were villages where there were hardly 10 houses, 2 houses. So it was not possible for any government, let alone a union territory, to set up schools in the convenience of the community. The only way was to set up district schools and also inter-village schools where the teachers would come and stay with the children, and so they will have a adult time environment, mentoring. This was the idea, and to a great extent I would say that in 70s and 80s it has helped. Today's the best of Arunachal officers, the leaders have all been product of the schools either in the government schools or the Ramakrishna mission, and in much later the Vivekananda Kendra schools. But the schools were necessarily have to be residential in those environments.
When it was my turn, literally I was shivering like how to do. There were so many kids in front of me, and plus uncle itself, he was there, and I was very, what to say, nervous. So I thought like I'll just give my best, and I did. And how to say, shayad I was lucky, or I don't know what to say, but I don't have the actual word to describe it. But uncle, he got impressed by me, and he praised me, and he asked, Samai, what's your name? Samai means daughter. He asked me, what's your name? And I remember telling uncle my name very happily, like, uncle, I'm Keshilu Tang of class 5.
जाएगा और बंदर चला किसके पास राजा के पास सभी ने कहा कि हाँ बंदर जी आप जाएंगे बंदर कहा नहीं मैंने जाऊंगा
The villages are very scattered, the districts were thing, and road communication was very difficult. Even today districts like Lohit and the Lower Dibang Valley, which are available, which can be reached from the Dibrugarh airport within 2.5 hours, it took us one whole day, sometimes 2 days to reach by traveling different modes. We have to come by some taxi, then in a bus, then a boat, then walk some distance.
So one day, what happened? That he suddenly he came near me and he was like, "Hey Samai, you dance really good. I think you should join Kalakshetra, which is like a fine art school." And I was like so much happy to even listen it. I know it won't, like I didn't even dreamed of literally taking my dancing as a career type or like pursuing it for the further studies. But I was like very happy and I said that, I can do that, uncle, but thank you so much for literally, coming up and talking to me. I was that type, and it was the first time.
Shantafit lamakanaja Jaham yamu ahayum Shantaru lamakanaja Jaharu yamu ahayum.
The entire history of Northeast is a very magnificent contribution of outsiders, whether it was the British times or even later. Right in 1948, we had the first Indian Frontier Administration Service. People like Murkot Rauni serving in Nagaland, he became the Chief Commissioner, and then Colonel K. Raja from Tamil Nadu serving as the Deputy Commissioner of Tirap, and later on he became the Chief Commissioner and the first Lieutenant Governor of Arunachal. And the doctors, very remote area, I have seen South Indian lady doctors' names being in the primary health centers.
I started thinking ki how does it really make him do things, in this interesting way? Like, what does it really, his techniques are that not just a student, just a kid like me could really get interested. And I'm like, Uncle has this strategy, okay, always ending the story in the most, suspense part, where he'll be like, if you want to know the rest of the story, come to the library. And I'm like, no, now I have to go. I'm like, I have no choice, I have to go. And then these things happened, and then slowly I did understood at the time being how he really does things, and create that environment, the joy of reading, the motto behind this library movement.
Sathyanarayanan Mundayur won the prestigious Padma Shri Award for his contribution to the informal education sector in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Despite getting the national honor, his work has largely gone unnoticed among the public, even in his home state of Kerala.
I didn't come from Kerala at all, though I am from Kerala. My best years have been spent in Bombay, now Mumbai. So I have learned so much by my life in Mumbai. The people have been, I could learn from I met great people who have influenced me personally and promoted my education, promoted my thinking. I promoted my habit of library reading. Though of course Kerala is definitely my guru in library movement. I have great admiration for all the libraries seen in Kerala when I was a very little child, and even today when I go, I first look where is the nearest library. So it's a very inspiring model which I felt that the young people of Arunachal should benefit from. So the love for the library movement is, and a great respect for them is there.
It was in the late 1980s that he arrived in the remote rowing village of Arunachal Pradesh. At that time, he was literally roaming around India in a quest to find his mission in life.
I was contributing articles as a freelancer, occasionally writing, and that really helped me to reach. I was definitely a ardent follower of children's magazines like Children's World, the Target, which came much later. So these magazines helped me to understand how it can reach out to the people, especially young people in a rural tribal community, which was learning through an English, which is a totally strange language.
For a while, he worked with the Vivekananda Kendra and its schools. Soon realizing that the formal academic structures have too many limitations in catering to the remote and inaccessible villages and the children of Arunachal, he set to establish a mini library network purely based on volunteerism.
It will be run by volunteers without expecting any monetary returns. Everybody has to do some voluntary service to the community in which they are living, because they are the beneficiaries of the community. Community has helped them to come up. I have been benefited by my community, whatever be, wherever I went. My elders, my ancestors, my society, my teachers, my friends, all of them have contributed to what I am. Same way it is the case with others. So everyone must share their little time with others for the benefit of their welfare. So with this idea, we have started 13 libraries, but giving them the full freedom to run the libraries at their own convenience. But we stuck to one point, that they will not be run in institutions. They will be run in totally accessible to the common people. So they will be not part of a school, though the readers are the main target group and the teachers are the beneficiaries. But we decided not to set up within, because the school is an institution with its own rules, and we knew that it will not help them to promote the joy of reading.
Now he has under his wings about 50 young volunteers who spread his motto, the joy of reading, in 3 districts of this Himalayan state.
Swami Vivekananda's life and his message has been always a great inspiration for many people of my generation or my thing. And I came through an organization paying respects to Swami Vivekananda. So that was there. But even otherwise, Gandhiji has been a great influence because Gandhiji's message for rural development and Nayi Talim, the language of the people, education for the people, that has been great inspiration. And then really discovering English has been a very difficult language for communities in rural areas all over India. In fact, one thing. So, whatever books can help the young people to get motivated to or inspired to read better and improve their English language, we have been encouraging that in our reading movement. So, for a slightly elder group, teachers, language enthusiasts, we suggest Lewis Carroll's books because his language, the play with words, should be a great inspiration to any language educator. And then for the young volunteers, books of Dr. Sauce. They are very, very delightful. It is very easy to help the children to master the play of words, and his books like My Food Book, then Cat in the Hat, they are very delightful and everything. And poetry has a very important place in any thing, more so in Northeast, where lot of music is there in their life. So they can catch up very nicely with anything melodious, musical. So the poems of Mary Ann Hoberman, the American poet, her poems of You Read to Me, I Read to You have been really very favorite, and we have used it in umpteen occasions to give confidence to the rural government school children to start speaking and reading English.
We used to have a mini library vacation. When we have vacations, we take books from the library and take to our respective villages, and we will open a small library, mini library, so that students can come and participate. And we used to teach them poems and skits, storytelling and all. And at the end of the vacation, we used to conduct a program where we will make them participate in it, and whatever they have learned, they will present that.
I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel happy. That's it. Like, कुछ भी काम ना अगर ज़बरदस्त किया जाए तो नहीं होता है ना. अंकल खुद भी एक इतने अच्छे इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर थे, पर उनका मन नहीं लगा, एंड ही वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टेड इन लिटरेरी एंड ऑल. एंड सी जहाँ अंकल का मन लगा, अंकल सो अब दुनिया में इतने, हाउ टू से, लाइक ही गॉट सच अ बिग प्राइज अवार्ड. मुझे लगता है जहाँ मन है तो वहाँ कुछ ना कुछ हो ही जाएगा. अगर मन नहीं है, ज़बरदस्त करोगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा.
The medium of instruction in Arunachal has been in English. The only way to improve English is only through books and exposure to a large repertoire of ideas, concepts, then structures, usages, and imagination. So obviously English books have to come to them, and same way they should also be encouraged to use the books. So the third phase what we started the number of programs, book exhibitions, storytelling program, book competitions to reach out books to the reading deprived. So this was the next phase we think, but it had nothing to do with the school as a focus. Our focus was on reaching out to the reading deprived wherever in our region. Of course, I have been working only in the eastern Arunachal, in the Lohit and Dibang Valley, which today consists of 5 districts.
Tayan. She is like my best friend. So she used to do story reading a lot, I mean storytelling. So I was like so surprised to a point where I could see her that talent, that hidden side of her when she's on the stage. She's also a different kind of person who brings inspiration to every other girls who cannot do those things, who don't have the courage to literally go out and speak whatever they feel like. So that thing also made me feel like I should also do this. I think I do have this potential, but somehow I'm like scared. I'm like having those fear deep down in me. So somehow that was the motto that I started going to the library, getting influenced by the friends in a positive way. So that was the whole journey. But then slowly, I think within this few years, I did realize that what are the means of all these reading activities we are actually doing for. It somehow made me feel like after all these years, we have been doing so good things without even our, particularly knowing what we are doing. I think that's the best part when we are like, we don't have a particular motto, but then we have something that is common. The interest in books and the library, and of course, all about Uncle Moosa.
This experiment of reaching out to the reading deprived started taking effort. We found that there are some among them who are ready to come forward to become volunteers and actives. So the next phase will be using these volunteers to spread the joy of reading. Each one can teach many more to read. So using this, since Arunachal or the northeastern states are people, very scattered population and a very large area, it is not possible for any one organization or a few individuals to reach out equally the benefits to all the community. So the only way is to get the local people involved, and they in turn will do the peer group training, peer group promotion of reading. So this is the model we have used in the third phase.
Arunachal population is a rainbow collection of agrarian tribes living scattered in small hamlets. The unique geography of the place is marked by hillocks and majestic mountains, as well as the distinctive character of the tribes here has socio-politically disconnected the state from mainland India. The northeastern people as a whole face this socio-political isolation. But in Arunachal, there are people who are disconnected even from other parts of the state. In such a situation, access to a book, any book, is a sort of luxury and at times an impossible feat.
But I felt that something I must do to, for reading Swami Vivekananda message, so that so long as every educated Indian doesn't serve the reading deprived, the learning deprived, his life is a totally futility. That very famous quotation of, so long as the millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor, who having been educated at their expense, pays not the least heed to them. So this really touched me, and then when I came to know that Arunachal, there is an acute need for good schools and teachers, and an organization was willing to start schools, and they were looking for volunteers. So I just went, and the organization gave me a very good support. They gave me a lot of encouragement, freedom to work. In any such intervention or innovations, freedom for the field worker is very, very prominent and must.
Sathyanarayanan Mundayur is Uncle Moosa to the kids. Many of these boys and girls know him from the time they learned to walk or talk. The valued memories linger on.
And I'm very attached to, not only me, but all the volunteers, very, very attached to Uncle. And I think that's the soul and the apex reason like we do. And secondary comes like we love to do it with Uncle especially.
The Gandhi Peace Foundation thing, then the Gandhian Institution in Uttaranchal, then later on the Mahila Samakhya in UP, Bihar, then the Lok Jambish in Rajasthan, and then the Swadhyaya movement in Gujarat. All these influenced me very much that the learning and life has to be focused to the people's need. It should be people based, and people should have the authority or the power to manage their life. So all these factors, all these influences have helped us to mold the library reading movement, so that people will decide what to read, how to read, when to read, and how to help their own people.
I belong from Mishmi community, and Mishmi community itself has diversity. Like there are 3 subgroups: Idu Mishmi, Digaru Mishmi, and Meju Mishmi. And I belong from Digaru Mishmi. And like Alex, yes, our community is an aggregate society where we mostly depend on agriculture.
The third phase of reading promotion and reading reprieve took us to something around 2007, when the Delhi AWIC organization, Association of Writers and Illustrators for Children, and the Arunachal then Education Minister, Shri Chona Menji, who is the present Deputy Chief Minister, and a very proactive, far-sighted Deputy Commissioner, Shri Prashant Lokhande, we all teamed up to have the first library coming up in Lohit, in the district headquarters, that is Teju, in 2007. So this library we called as Bambusa, and immediately we decided that we are not going to confine us to a single library. If books have to reach to the readers, it has to be run through a small number of small, tiny, people managed little libraries. So this is what we think. Whoever was willing to set up a library and support and manage a library, we said we will distribute these books. So fortunately, we had got some very wonderful gift from an American organization, Om Prakash Foundation. With their support, these books were distributed over 13 libraries. But the condition was that it will be the local people who will manage the library and run the library. We will always team up. We will all support each other. It will be only a hand holding.
Many of these book reading, storytelling volunteers now pursue higher education in different parts of the country. Still, they remember their roots and keep in touch with the teacher whom they loved the most, the teacher who's brought stories into their lives.
Corona created a lot of problems. Readers stopped coming to our libraries. But then we decided we will do something else. Senior most volunteers who were back home because of Corona, they could not go back to their university. So we thought, why not use their expertise to promote reading habit? And the only option available was the radio. So we tied up with the All India Radio Teju station, and they were very, very happy. So through their Yuvavani program, almost every month or once in 2 months, we did a Yuvapani program highlighting little known achievers, what the young people should get inspired from through these senior most volunteers.
अंकल सब लोग इतना खुश है, इतना मानते हैं कि ना अगर हम कहें कि हमारा लाइब्रेरी प्रोग्राम है अंकल के साथ, then our parents they won't restrict us, they won't ask any questions, like they believe in uncle so much, like उन्हें पता है कि अंकल क्या कर रहे सोसाइटी के लिए और कितना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. Not only our parents but all the Lohit Valley and even the Dibang Valley, they know uncle.
This man's life is simple, so simple that his message may even go past you. The joy of reading and the priceless role of stories and books in a child's life is what his message is all about.
I have friends who got married, who are left behind. Their education dropped in between. But we are lucky that we have joined this library and we have come this far. So I feel proud because
Padma is a Mishmi girl, it's a folktale, a Mishmi folktale, and her loom, where the women weave like this. This is a Mishmi bag. So the weaving, that's a folktale thing. So a very renowned writer, Madam Mamang Dai, who is also a Padma Shri Award Sahitya Academy winner, she wrote it in English, and Tulika wanted its translation in the language of the original folktale. That was a Mishmi. So our convener, Sri Sokhib Kri, is a very great authority of the language. He translated in Mishmi language, and Tulika published it. In 2019, Tulika once again came forward to support Arunachal languages. They said, we will bring out books, biography of Gandhiji for children. So with our friends, volunteers coming forward, we could bring out Gandhiji's biography in 5 Arunachali languages and Bodo language of Assam. That is Adi, Apatani, Nishi, Nokte and Kamle Nishi. In 5 languages, Arunachal languages, and the Bodo language. The book was prepared and released by our Chief Minister on October 2nd, 2019.
We have always this motto, like model. We will encourage people, we will encourage them to join us, but then we cannot force them, or like there's no oblique to literally make them join us. It's more like a free decision from their side, their choices made, so they can join this movement. And it's not just individual benefit, it's all about the society as well. And for nowadays, I guess youths are more needed to be shown this side of the beautiness or joyful, where life can be much more beautiful, and things could have been more easier if we lead a life with a motto and with some, how do you use this word, a meaning to the life, I would say. So that's the motto till now, and I believe every person should really have this.